Did they think twerking like trailer trash teens would endear them to the public? To me, that is a racist.
Oh, do me a
favour.
favour.
Trailer trash
It is.
How can that be racist? Trailer trash does not mean anyone's ethnicity or colour.
Twerking.
So why would you say it does?
Meghan is not a white woman.
So we've only associated twerking with white women. So why is it racist now when it's Meghan Markle?
Because you're saying that she's trailer trash. Okay.
Most people I saw commenting thought it was a very tacky thing
But
to
it's
rap.
true, Piers, you can't deny that this has all happened because of unconscious bias running through the UK press.
Oh, please, it's
all of this hate,
nonsense.
you were just... No, it's not nonsense.
They put little emojis on their faces like they're supposed to protect them.
So that it can't
either use
appear in
your
a
kids,
newspaper.
I'm not
either
sure.
use your kids or don't use them.
Can I just say the bump argument? If a surrogate had those babies, there is a question as to whether or not they're in the line of succession.
Never complain and never explain was the late Queen's motto for royal PR. For Harry and Meghan, it's more a case of never reign and never abstain, especially when it comes to nauseating self-publicity, which invariably backfires. After a series of high-profile flops, including Harry's disastrous Polo series and Meghan's lifestyle show, they appear to be making a dignified retreat into irrelevance. Well, no such luck, actually. They're currently bombarding the tabloid machine with heartwarming snapshots of their perfect California lives. This weekend, they shared tastefully obscured snaps of a family day out to Disneyland, and a week ago, they gave us this.
To the T-A, double R-K, to the E-I-S-H-A, and I don't play, doing my way, prego, but I'm still doing moves like Beyonce. Yeah, I said I'm pregnant, give the child support and pay my rent, your opinion is irrelevant, cause I'm a baby mama, I can do this what I wanna, turn up.
If she a baby mama, she gon' do that baby mama.
Work.
She gon' put it on you, she gon' do that baby mama. Drop
Drop it down.
Sometimes, I don't know, words seem superfluous, really. Meghan shared that bedside twerking video, taken shortly, apparently, before she gave birth to Lilibet. Remember the child that she named after the Queen's private nickname that was given to by Duke of Edinburgh, without getting permission from the Queen. Anyway, it was to silence online trolls, apparently, who basically claimed she was never pregnant at all. Instead, the videos emboldened conspiracy theorists. They're calling it megspiracy, and the pair are being subjected to yet more merciless ridicule. So what will be next? A presidential campaign, a leaked sex tape, that can't be far away, or maybe a freedom flotilla from Montecito to the Gaza Strip with Greta Thunberg. But joining me to discuss all this, the host of Kinsey Schofield Unfiltered, Kinsey Schofield, Uncensored contributor Ava Santina, and comedian, in inverted commas, James Barr. Great to see you all.
I missed you too.
I've missed you guys. Lovely to see you. Kinsey, I feel like Michael Corleone in Godfather 3, when he's tried to leave the bad stuff behind and go legitimate, and then he gets dragged back in by an incident, and he just goes, every time I try, they just suck me back in. That's how I feel about these two. I don't want to talk about them. I feel like we shouldn't have to, and yet all the papers have been full of it for the last week. So here we are, and we're off again, and it'll be, well, what do we say about this?
Well, I've been dying to ask you, because I know you spent time with Princess Diana and Meghan.
Yeah.
I saw Meghan trying to recreate Princess Diana moments with the Disney pictures. Do you ever get the sense that she's trying to do that? Or do you see any of the real Diana in Meghan?
God, no.
Really?
Fuck no. Sorry. We are uncensored, but oh my God, the idea there's any comparison between Diana, who was the biggest star in the world, probably, arguably, along with Donald Trump, the biggest star there's ever been.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you cannot compare Princess Diana to President Trump. That's outrageous.
No. You can in fame. I would say those two are the two most famous people I've ever seen.
No, but isn't one fame and one, infamy?
Fame's fame, right?
That's
Fame is just how well known are people. Trump, I've read somewhere that Trump gets the publicity oxygen in global media of the next 1,000 people in the world combined. Right. So I'm purely basing it on that, really. And he lives in the digital age, which massively increases fame.
Well, you also see with Harry and Meghan, they get, well, Meghan specifically, her social media gets a significant amount more views than the Prince and Princess of Wales. But I think that it's all about spectacle. I think it's almost shameless. It's less about substance, which is what we do get from the Prince and Princess of Wales, and it's more about clickbait and generating her own headlines.
Well, here's my thing, James, all right? This is my problem with it. As always with these two, bear in mind, just to remind people, because I did know her a little bit before she met Harry, and then she obviously ghosted everybody.
She rejected you, right?
Well, of course she rejected me, yeah. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter what it did she
Well, it
reject?
kind of does matter, doesn't it?
Well, not really. What do you think I actually tried to, do what with her?
I have no idea. I wasn't there.
So why would you say I was rejected?
Well, what happened then?
She asked to have a drink in my local pub. I met her for an hour and a half.
Right.
And then went back to my immeasurably better looking wife.
Well,
so
really
the idea that somehow I was rejected by Meghan Markle is so utterly ridiculous. And yet people like you promote these scurrilous rumours.
But there's got to be a reason that you're so angry
At your
about.
heart, no, I'm not angry with her. Here's my thing with them. I'm angry at their hypocrisy. I'm very angry about the ongoing attacks and diminishing of the reputation of the royal family and the monarchy. And before you play whataboutery, yes, I was about Prince Andrew, who had far more serious things that were going on with him. Yes, I was on about other people who did. I believe in the monarchy and I love the royal family. And anyone that sets out to systematically destroy that brand as they've done and simultaneously make millions from fleecing their royal titles, I find that anger making. Yes,
You
But
probably
that's
think
not
I'm
my
deluded,
question.
but I think you can hold both of
But
those
here's
things at the
my
same
question for
time.
you. Here's my question for you. Is that I was actually very supportive of them, right to the point they got married. Most people were in this country. Their wedding day was a unified day of celebration. The media were unbelievably positive about them. And then after they got married, it all went wrong. And I've written a lot about this, where I said what happened was they began to do things which appeared to be very hypocritical. And when they got criticised by the media in a way they weren't used to, they reacted very badly. And then the relationship with them and the media got increasingly toxic. And by the end of that first year, it was all hell breaking loose. But it became because they were doing things, if you remember, like they were using Elton John and George Clooney's private jets like a taxi service when they were also preaching about carbon footprint. They tweeted about poverty and the need to take it more seriously and be aware of Poverty Day on the day she had a $500,000 baby shower in New York, right? And so on and so on and so on.
Yeah, but you
So-
never say this about King Charles.
No,
He also
I
talks
will.
about the environment.
Don't play what about you. Don't play what about
It's a
you.
fair point, though, isn't it?
It will be, but we'll come to that in a moment. But on the hypocrisy front, I think that as all the royals get, they were criticised for hypocrisy. The difference is they went DEFCON 1 because they couldn't handle it. And then the relationship with the media broke down and then they left the country and so on. But why did they leave the country? They wanted freedom. They wanted their privacy. They wanted to be left alone. All of these things. Since then, he's carried on, suing everyone that moves, suing particularly over his personal security in the UK when he's hardly here, but to protect his family. And yet at the same time, here they are at Disneyland, putting pictures up of their kids all over social media for millions of people to look at. Again, I simply say, James, it's the hypocrisy. It's nothing else. It's people don't like the double standard.
Firstly, I just want to say anyone at Disneyland taking a picture, they're not having a Princess Diana moment. They're just having a moment with their family. So it's ridiculous.
Why
to
post
suggest-
it?
It's in the
Why
exact
post it?
ridiculous to suggest
Why
that
post
just
it?
because they're
Why
on a log
post it? If
flume,
you care about-
they are having a Princess Diana
If you're
moment.
worried
She also
about-
wasn't at Disneyland. I think she was at Chessington in the UK. So it's
She's
a
at
bit
Disney
different.
World.
But she
They
didn't.
took the
She
boys
didn't
there.
cover their faces with emojis.
What, Prince Harry
No, but
and
that's
William?
to beat the media at their own game, right? Because then the
Yeah.
Mail can't publish it. Actually, do you know what? While we're on the Mail, can I read you a headline after that twerking video went out? The Mail published, did they think twerking like trailer trash teens would endear them to the public? You know, all of that conversation we had, I've had them with you many times, about there being no racism around Meghan Markle. To me, that is a racist.
do me a favour.
It is.
Trailer
It
trash
is.
is-
How can that be racist?
That's
Twerking.
an American
Because she's twerking.
It's
no,
an
but it's
American
the
term.
way
She was literally twerking.
It's the way that they've described it, like trailer trash teens. I mean,
Trailer
twerking is
trash
a long-standing.
is
that
an
is
American
that is
term.
emanated out of the
What's
African
racist?
diaspora. That
Do
is-
me a favour.
But it is.
That's
and to
ridiculous.
describe that,
It's
that
ridiculous.
style of dancing
Let me
as
tell you,
akin
the
to
trailer
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 trash
trash.
is the Tiger King. Like, that is the definition of trailer trash in America.
But
It's
to liken twerking to that is inherently, that has racist
No,
undertones.
bollocks.
It does.
I'm sorry. Complete nonsense.
It does. And also,
And this
you
is
were
the
very,
problem with it. This problem with it. She would love that. She'll send you one of her pots of jam for that.
Look,
it's like, great,
you have
she's played the
rather-
race card. That gets me off the
But
rack.
it's true, Piers. You can't deny that this has all happened because of unconscious bias running through the UK press.
Oh, please, it's
all of
such
this hate you were
nonsense.
just describing
It's such
painstakingly.
nonsense.
No, it's not nonsense.
Where was the racism on their wedding day when the British press combined to say how brilliant it was
Hang on, you've
that we
been rather-
finally had
You
a
You can't just say
biracial
on one day
royal
people were
wedding?
nice, so the rest of it
No,
doesn't
but they
matter.
weren't. You're rather revisionist with that.
No,
Because
I'm not.
if
Go
I
back and look at the front
remember-
pages.
If I remember
No, I wrote one of them.
If I remember correctly, in the days leading up to her wedding, her father was all over the tabloids. He'd sent her a letter, which was then published in newspapers. And look, I know brides as they come up to their wedding, and to be honest, she actually handled that very well. Other brides I'd known would have flown off the handle. Can you imagine having your life written out in the papers like that, coming up to
Actually,
your
only
wedding
one
day?
thing was written out was the father, who was banned from the
But
wedding,
publishing
and who
that,
was
can you
replaced with
imagine what-
Oprah Winfrey sitting in his chair. And all her family were
maybe
banned.
she was more of a
and now
mother than
all
he
his
was.
family are banned. Look, you two always defend the offensive with these two. But my point is, it's the hypocrisy.
Okay,
Why,
but being a
hang on.
hypocrite, can I just want to come back to
answer
the
my
hypocrisy
question.
thing.
The question is, why put your kids all over social media?
Because-
if all you're banging on about all the time is wanting privacy and
Because they're-
protection for those children.
You should know this, Piers, as someone that works in journalism.
Mm.
There is a difference between the privacy that you decide to share with people yourself and the privacy that is stolen from you.
Right.
And you know for a fact that the British press...
How does it protect their privacy by putting their pictures on Instagram?
Because they're sharing a video that was taken 4 years ago online now because they feel like they're happy to do so. And that's completely within their right. Just because my
No,
mum
I'm
went
talking
on
about the kids-
Facebook
the
and did
kids
the
at
Ice Bucket
Disneyland.
Challenge
Talking
however
about the
many
kids
years
at
ago,
Disneyland.
doesn't mean that you're now
But
entitled
they
to turn
shared
up.
them with
the
their
kids
agents.
at Disneyland were last week.
Yes, but their faces were covered up. They were censored.
Barely. And by the way, I have a real problem with celebrities that do that.
Why?
There's a few people that do that. They do endless pictures of their kids to show off their parenting skills, and they put little emojis on their faces like that's supposed to protect them.
So
Like,
it can't
either
appear
use
in
your
a
kids,
newspaper. I'm
not
either
sure-
use your kids or don't use them. To do this is pathetic.
No, so
Who's promoting who here? They are using their children to
No, they're
promote their
not.
parenting credentials. They are. Either protect their privacy, keep them out of it, or don't.
I also think you
But you two don't even believe what you're saying.
No, I just think that they've got agency here. That's the picture that they've decided, and they
What
know
does
by
that
putting
mean?
those emojis.
Agency to be hypocrites?
No. It means that they know when they put those emojis on, it won't be sold to a tabloid. A tabloid's not going to print that. And if
The
it
tabloids
does,
all printed it.
yeah.
why?
Because it's
They're
even
So
more...
desperate, the tabloids,
But
aren't they? They'll print
I
anything.
just don't understand why you think that's an issue.
But I
It's-
also think you run the risk of weirdos now being desperate to know what they look like because you're teasing them with these photos.
You're
Now-
using your kids to promote yourself.
weirdos
No,
like
it's so
Piers?
dangerous to put a child's face on the internet.
Huh?
Though. It's so dangerous to put a child's face on the internet.
Why put
especially-
them on there at all? Explain to me.
I would agree with that, but I agree, but with covering.
So you
up the
agree with me?
face. No, with covering up the face, I think that's
No,
absolutely
why
fine.
put them on
And look,
Instagram at all?
Well, because they've got a business to promote.
When you're
Piers.
simultaneously
because they've got a
campaigning
business to promote.
to protect their privacy, why expose their
No,
privacy?
but they're talking about agency in their privacy, right?
does that
so,
mean?
So because they want control over what is published, and I
Hmm.
think that is totally fair. They don't want tabloids like rooting through their bins, and that is fair enough.
Why
And look,
would promoting your kids on Instagram deter the paparazzi from coming and wanting to take pictures of your kids?
I don't know.
Why
We're
wouldn't
going
it
down
only
a
encourage them?
different
Why wouldn't it
garden
make them
path
think,
now.
oh, right, so you're turning your kids into a commercial opportunity. You want to profit from their exposure all over your
But she
Instagram.
has been
You want to get
forced
more
to live
followers,
a
which will
public
make you
life.
more money. You don't get the hypocrisy?
No, but they've been forced to live a public life. Maybe not her so much, actually, I take that back. But Prince Harry has been forced to live a public
Hmm.
life. Why should he not share pictures of his children? And why should they not make a bit of buck off the back of it?
But he's not. It is Meghan who's like simultaneously selling children's clothes through affiliate links on her Instagram page.
She's got to make
And
cash.
She's allowed to do that.
She's
She
got
can
to
do
make
that if
cash.
She wants to.
I mean, how
Also-
do you expect her to make money? She can't go and work in Asda. Like, what's she going to do?
Why not?
Well, come on now.
She will be soon.
she
at
will.
this
We were
rate.
being
Imagine the
told when she
security
walked the
implications of
variety
that.
red carpet that she was looking forward to being behind the scenes, producing things like Meet Me at the Lake. But we have seen her step up. She's a podcast host now. She's a TV host. I think that she does like being in the limelight, and I do think she wants the children to soften her image.
You know what? None of it's actually
I don't.
working. That's the reality. The reason she suddenly got all thirsty on social media is that none of it works.
But it's not
nobody
thirsty.
cares about her
Beatrice
jam.
obscures her
No one
children's
cares
face
about her
sometimes.
jam.
So
She
does
pretended it
Eugenie.
all sold out. Really? Maybe what you did was sell about 3 jars and claim it's a sellout, hoping that would fuel sales. Nobody cares.
I imagine it would.
Unless they're trashing the royals, nobody cares.
I mean, people even buy those plates with like the king and queen's face on. I imagine her jam
if they are the
sold out.
senior royals, the jam doesn't sell. She's now saying she's suspended production or something absurd. The whole thing, we know it's all crap.
She's going to open a hotel, which I'll be looking forward to.
come
I am
on,
definitely going to be checking in.
Really?
I can't wait to visit that.
I'm going to go to the twerking classes.
I don't see a problem with that at
Let's
all.
go back to the twerking thing for a minute, which you say was racist. I mean, honestly, it's exhausting.
No, to compare it to trailer trash. That's the problem.
But okay, what does trailer trash mean?
I don't know, you have to ask the mail editor.
When did it apply to black people?
Trailer trash means it's...
Hang on, when did it apply to black people?
No, but in that twerking...
Trailer trash does not mean anyone's ethnicity or colour.
Twerking...
So why would you say it does?
Twerking, it has only been...
White people don't twerk?
Only been in the Western consciousness, since 2013 when Miley Cyrus did it at the VMAs. But
so you accept that for the last 12 years at least, it's been white people doing the twerking? Do you or not?
But Meghan is
not. Do you or not?
Meghan is not a white woman. So
we've only associated twerking with white women since Miley Cyrus in 2013.
No, I'm saying that's when it entered the Western consciousness.
So why is it racist now when it's Meghan Markle?
Because you're saying that she's trailer trash for twerking.
It was a columnist who thought she was trailer trash because it was
she was twerking.
Most people I saw commenting thought it was a very tacky thing to be putting out there.
If Kate and William did this,
do you think they'd ever release it?
If they did,
you think Kate would release a twerking video,
people use headlines
heavily
like that?
pregnant at the bedside?
Would people say things like that? And
The
would that
thing
be
is,
acceptable?
these two will sell anything about their privacy. And yet they'll fight privacy battle after privacy battle. It's total
I don't
hypocrisy.
agree with that. We've seen also just the blatant misogyny about her, her pregnancy
it's because she's a woman.
No, her pregnancy bump, about whether it was real or whether it was fake and all those conspiracies.
What's misogynist about that?
What, questioning someone's bump, whether it's real?
You can
That is
question
so
everything
insane.
when somebody puts out a video like that. You can do what the hell you like.
I don't think that you do.
I don't think it was a fake bump. I think she was pregnant and had a baby. I think the tackiness comes from somebody who's a member of the British royal family putting out a twerking, heavily pregnant video with him dancing around like a wooden clown
Well,
next to
it was
her.
a little bit wooden, wasn't it?
But
I mean, it could have been a bit better.
It's all just embarrassing. And
It's
it
not
chips away,
embarrassing.
at the mystique of the royal family.
How anyone
do
can
not
watch that
wanna
video
see
and not
Duchess
think it is
Keyhole.
a couple who are in love, sharing joy and trying to make
Why don't they keep it to themselves, these private couples?
Because they're public people and
They're
they
not,
have a
though, are
business.
they? They're not anymore.
Also, I think your tweet about a sex tape coming next is quite disgusting
Inevitable.
and incredibly misogynistic.
Inevitable.
How could you possibly
Inevitable.
think that? Why?
Would you bet your lifetime savings?
Yes.
There will be no sex tape accidentally leaked to turn her into the Kim Kardashian of the
I
royal
would defend
family?
her releasing a sex tape.
Remember,
That
it's
would be
always
her choice.
accidental, isn't it?
Honestly, if she wants to start an OnlyFans, I'll be the first to sign up. I'm
Really?
definitely
You think
down.
it would be great for someone who's the Duchess of Sussex
I don't think I care.
to be a
Right.
member of... I know you don't, but that's the problem. You don't care about the royal family. I do.
Piers.
I
I was
do.
just trying to explain. I
Do you think
can...
sex work is beneath some people? Is that what you're
Probably
arguing?
for a member of the royal family, yeah.
I
yeah.
don't
You
know
probably
about
shouldn't
that.
be a hooker. Yeah.
I
on
don't know
balance,
about that.
on balance, a member of the British royal family probably ought to steer clear of sex work. Yeah.
I don't know about
You
that.
don't know
because
about
that
that?
sort of implies that,
Ava,
that
do
it
you
would be
ever
beneath.
believe anything you actually say on this show? On this show,
Yes.
I think you talk about things like, the state of poor people, and I believe you believe it, right? When you talk about stuff like this, I look into the soul of your eyes, and I see somebody who doesn't believe a word of it.
Look, she's a hard defence, I have to say.
Yes,
Because,
exactly.
but I do think the tabloid furore around her is uncalled for.
Yeah, but the problem is, because on a serious point, Kinsey, my thing about that is, like I said, I don't want to be doing another bloody segment on Meghan Markle and Harry, right? Except that they compel people to do it. Because what this show does, it covers the news, it covers what people's talking about. If all the papers are full of her twerking and them going off to Disneyland and plastering emojis over their kids' faces whilst selling the kids on their social media and so on, and bleating about privacy, it makes them newsworthy.
Mm-hmm.
So you either then ignore what people are talking about and debating and having all the silly stuff about the fake bump and so on, or you embrace it and we do a debate, and it's always the same stuff, right? You two are never going to give an inch. I'm never going to give an inch the other way. And it's like, I feel like we're losing time from our lives. We're never going to get back with these people.
I would love to see her more political. Both.
Oh my God!
I would
Really?
love to see
I
that.
can't think of anything I'd rather less hear.
I'd love to
Although
see
actually,
that.
for one reason, I would, because she would get completely torched.
Yeah.
She would be exposed as a rank hypocrite if she became a political.
Why would you want a woman to fail like that, though?
No, I wouldn't want to be
just-
fair.
I do think they've got a very
I think
good
the pair of them,
platform.
I'd like them both to run for office. My irritation, in a way, in a way, Meghan Markle has gone back to live in California, and she's living the life she probably wanted all along.
Yes.
A life of unparalleled luxury and riches that she got by marrying her handsome British prince. She's living back in the state that she came from, and she's got her chickens and her dogs and her kids and everything, and that's fine. I don't really care about her. He's the one that continues to cause enormous damage to the royal family because he's the king's son, and he keeps whacking them away. The king won't even see him, Kinsey, because he doesn't trust him not to immediately go and brief People magazine about the conversation. That, to me, is on a human level heartbreaking, but on a bigger level, it is damaging to the royal family. He's out there, this renegade royal, wanting his royal cake and eating. That's my problem with him. She's kind of irrelevant now, right? She's back in LA or wherever she wants to be. It doesn't really matter what she does. She just does stuff that's embarrassing. He is the king's son. It is immeasurably more harmful what he gets up to.
Well, and a lot of the royal watchers were complaining that they felt like her posts on social media where she barely shows the kids is almost taunting the king, who doesn't know these children, and how unfair this is. Because he is the king, but he's also a man with cancer. And I think a lot of times we forget that he's battling cancer because he shows up every day and works. And it does feel insensitive knowing that he's been struggling and not able to see his grandchildren. But can I just say the bump argument, the reason that everybody's frustrated about it is because if Meghan Markle did not have those children, and I'm with Piers, I think she had her babies, but if a surrogate had those babies, there is a question as to whether or not they're in the line of succession, and that is why
I know, but
everybody's
look,
so
here's the
fired
thing.
up about it.
Obviously, she gave birth, right? I don't think even these two would be up for creating a fake story like that. I just think, James, the problem is all of it, to me, is just chips away at the magic. And we talked about Diana. Diana, for her faults, added to the magic of the royal family because she never actually attacked the monarchy as an institution. She believed in it.
Well, I don't know if they would agree with you at the
monarchist.
time. I think they would say that she was attacking the monarchy. I think the things that they felt she was... I think at the time, not that I was really conscious of what was going on, but reading back on it, I think they were really unhappy with the way she was conducting herself. It's only now that you look at it and go, what a hero. But at the time, the royal family were really upset with some of the behaviour that Princess
Well, they're
Diana
upset
was.
about the divorce battle with Charles.
Well, they probably would have even...
I would say he was equally culpable in that.
I'd imagine they were
reasons.
judging her hugging victims of AIDS and HIV at the time as well. And yet that's one of the things that has made her such an international...
Yeah, but so Ava, on that point, it's quite interesting because, to me, it's a question of how they go about these things. That felt... When Diana went to that hospital and shook the AIDS patient's hand, it was an unbelievably powerful moment. When she walked through the landmines of Angola, it was I remember doing the front page of the Mirror, incredibly powerful and really did move the needle and stuff. What these two do is there's a mass shooting in another state and they get on a plane and they go and put themselves in there, putting their arm around people. No one's asked them to be there. It's not a planned trip. There's nothing official about it. They just, as people call them, they're like grief tourists now.
I don't think
they want
so.
to be associated with it, to be a bit like Diana, but they don't do it in a way that is anything other than cack-handed and looks grasping.
But if they didn't go, then you would have a lot to say about it as well.
No, I wouldn't. Whoever
say,
sees a
why
mass
are you
shooting in America and
involved?
thinks, what we really need is Meghan and Harry to turn
Well, when
up.
you think about one of the biggest travesties that's ever happened to London, which was the Grenfell Tower fire, you think about the number of people who went down there, like Adele and Stormzy, and we said we really respect them for going down there. That's just what Meghan and Harry are replicating.
But they're celebrities.
So are Meghan and Harry.
They're not. They're members of the royal family.
See, but they're all celebrities
there's a difference.
too.
I think also
There's a difference.
you seem to have a lack of empathy for Harry here, and you're
I do, yeah.
You're saying that
I've got zero empathy.
You're saying he's trashing the royal family.
Yeah.
But what he's actually trying to do, I feel, is change the royal family and the system.
How do you think
behind
that's
it.
going? That mission?
Well, it doesn't seem to be going particularly well,
No.
does it? But I know that News UK had to pay out 10 million recently to him.
How happy do you think he is? Remember, he left for happiness.
I'd imagine he's pretty unhappy.
He left for freedom and happiness.
I imagine he misses his
doesn't talk to
family.
his father.
I imagine he misses his family.
He doesn't talk to his father. He doesn't talk to his only sibling, his brother. He doesn't talk to his sister-in-law. He doesn't talk to most
But that is their choice.
He doesn't talk to most of his other senior members
That is
of that
their
family.
choice, and yet for some reason he's the villain.
She never sees her father, who lives 70 minutes drive away. Her father's never met the kids. This is the father, by the way, she lived with on her own for 7
But
years.
we shouldn't know that information.
Hang on.
That's the argument
We
she's
know
making.
it because they actually had a televised wedding where we could see who was allowed to come.
Yeah, but
right?
and who published all of the letters the days before that? You know, we shouldn't know that. Her argument is you shouldn't be going through my personal information. And
Harry has
publishing
never
it.
met the father of his wife.
And,
You just
and
ignore
Harry,
those
and
points.
He's
Harry
never allowed. Well, no, it's
published-
not.
A lot of couples
Harry
have
published
relationships
private
like
text
that.
messages in his
Yeah.
book too. before
Harry
he
Yeah, but
published
as a
it in
response to the way the press has handled his entire life.
No.
Harry is responding in
He also,
kind.
just to be clear, he also revealed private conversations he had with Charles and William.
Because they have
at the
also
funeral-
revealed
at
private
the funeral
conversations that
of
they have had,
Prince Philip.
in his opinion,
At
through
the
the
funeral
press.
of Prince Philip.
I think they're all as bad as each other.
I kind of agree with Ava on that. I think it is a bit of tit for tat. And this
Do you
was-
know the answer? The answer to this, it seems to me, Kinsey. They should just do what I've said for a few years now. Just take the titles away. Let them get on with being Meghan and Harry, celebrities, Adele, whatever, right? Then you can do what you like. You could be judged accordingly. But you can do what you like. It's the problem is doing it under the umbrella of being the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, him remaining in line to the throne.
Because he was born into it.
Huh?
He was born, and you monarchists really care about that for some reason. So you can't take it away from him. That's
can,
his
yeah,
lineage.
you can.
But I'd take it away from all of them personally. But there we
What,
go.
you take away the monarchy?
Just...
See, that's the problem, isn't it? You don't care. You like the damage they cause because actually, secretly, you want to get rid of the monarchy.
Look, they're a hard defence. These are very wealthy people who live a very privileged lifestyle, and you know, even the king, you know, usurping quite a lot of cash out of UK land, taking money away from our NHS, as we found out not so long ago. I don't really care for any of them, so I wouldn't mind if they all disappeared.
As the
titles, that is.
American, I say that I admire the monarchy because it gives you guys one thing that you can all rally around versus how polarizing our politics.
Well, you have been colonised by the UK right now, so that doesn't
I'm going to
surprise
say,
me.
it takes it when an American has to fly the flag and you two turn up.
And the
like this.
nails as well.
And the nails.
Do check out the nails.
All right, well, look, I wish we hadn't done that segment. But unfortunately, they sucked me back in. I find them unbelievably irritating, but you know what? People seem interested in them. And as they're going to keep doing what they're doing, we're probably going to keep talking about it. I wish I was stronger and could just ignore them. At the moment, that philosophy is failing. That struggle is real. But I look forward to the day when that's it. We never mention them again. And I'm sure they feel exactly the same way about me. Unlike you three, who I'd love to see again. And it was lovely to have you all back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Piers Morgan Uncensored is proudly independent. The only boss around here is me. If you enjoy our show, we ask for only one simple thing. Hit subscribe on YouTube and follow Piers Morgan Uncensored on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And in return, we will continue our mission to inform, irritate and entertain. And we'll do it all for free. Independent, uncensored media has never been more critical, and we couldn't do it without you.